Singspiration, praise and worship now. And we're going to start with number 547. 547, Be Thou My Vision. I don't know if you can get the words on the screen. Okay. Has everyone got the words, access to the words? Okay. We'll do the first, second and last verse. Be thou my vision, O Lord, of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thy presence, my life. Be thou my wisdom, be thou my true word. I ever with thee, thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, I thy true Son. Thou in me dwelling, and I with thee one.
Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise.
Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou my inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure thou art.
Be High King of heaven,
when victory is won.
May I reach heaven's joys.
May I reach heaven's joys. Heart of my own heart, whatever.
Still be my vision, O ruler of all.
Still be my vision, O ruler of all. Amen. We will take a favourite. Does anybody have a favourite they would like us to sing? 15? My Maker and my King. 15. My Maker and my King. Okay, we'll start. Hopefully they'll manage to get the screen working. My Maker and my King, to thee my all I owe. Thy sovereign bounty is the spring whence all my blessings flow. Thy sovereign bounty is the spring whence all my blessings flow.
The creature of thy hand.
The creature of thy hand. On thee alone I live. My God, thy benefits demand more praise than I can give.
My God, thy benefits demand.
My God, thy benefits demand more praise than I can give.
Lord, what can I impart?
Lord, what can I impart when all is thine before? Thy love demands a thankful heart, the gift, alas, how poor. Thy love demands a thankful heart, the gift, alas, how poor. Oh, let thy grace impart my soul with with strength divine. Let every word and each desire and all my days be thine. Let every word and each desire and all my days be thine. Amen. Favorite? Because of who you are. Okay. I know that. You know the words, don't you? I'm going to come from here, cameras, because everyone sits right near the back, so we'll come right here. You can't move back anymore. Okay, so it's not a solo, it's not a duet, so we're going to sing together because of who you are, okay? Sorry? Yeah, come. Because of who you are, I give you glory. Because of who you are, I give you praise. Because of who you are, I will lift my voice and say, Lord, I worship you. Because of who you are, Lord, I worship you. Lord, I worship you. Because of who you are. Let's sing that again. Because of who you are, I give you glory. Because of who you are, I give you glory. Because of who you are, I give you praise. Because of who you are, I will lift my voice and say, Lord, I worship you. Because of who you are, Lord, I worship you. Because of who you are, Jehovah Jireh, my provider, Jehovah Nissi, Lord, you reign in victory, Jehovah Shalom, my Prince of Peace, and I worship you because of who you are. Lord, I worship you because of who you are. Jehovah Jireh. Jehovah Jireh, my provider. Jehovah Nissi, Lord, you reign in victory. Jehovah Shalom, my Prince of Peace, and I worship you because of who you are. Lord, I worship you because of who you are.
Shall we stand as we have our theme song, the first verse of A Christian Home, sang to the tune of Be Still My Soul. Shall we stand? Oh, too low.
Oh, give us homes built firm upon the Savior, where Christ is head and counselor and guide, where every child is taught his love and favor, and gives his heart to Christ the crucified. How sweet
side. Amen. Shall we have our opening prayer by Sister Oliver? Thank you. Remain standing, please.
Loving Father, our precious Redeemer, we're so glad for this privilege once more to be in your courts, to worship you. Father, you know why we're having this campaign. We need a revival in our lives. We need to know you better. We need to serve you better. Father in heaven, we thank you for the speaker of the hour. We thank you for the spirit that you have placed within him and for the message of the hour. Because we do need to remember from whence we came and where we are going. So, dear Father, be with those who are coming. Hasten their footstep, Lord. Don't let nothing prevent them from coming to hear your words. And when we leave here, help us to examine our lives and to see where we are. And help us to remain at your footstep, on your feet, until we recover and know that the best friend to have is Jesus, the best servant and God of us all. So thank you, Lord, for this love that you have placed within our hearts and the love you have given us. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Well, I don't know about you, but I've been blessed. Amen. Yes. Pastor Harrison, we thank you. I hope you don't mind me calling you Pastor Harrison, because I'm not going to go back to that word that hardly anyone can pronounce. We thank you. We thank you for being with us and expounding on the word in a very practical way. Amen. And I want to give Pastor Harrison all the time that he needs, because you know he takes his time and he likes his full hour. So we're not going to deny you that time, Pastor. But I'd like to thank Lorene for the wonderful rendition that she gave us last night. Those of you who can get onto YouTube, it is featuring on YouTube. But those of you who were here last night, you missed a treat. It was a real treat. Thank you, Lorene. We're going to have another treat tonight. The Marshall sisters, I believe, have got something up their sleeve for us. Amen. Would you like to come up now, little ones, and give us your blessing through the word in song, and then following them, we will have, is it question time? There are questions. I'll pass it over to you, all right? Thank you.
Yo te amo, ya te vi a la blue. I hear your head child, I love you. The sounds are all as different as the lands from which they came. And though our words are all unique, our hearts are still the same. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. We teach the young our differences, yet look how we're the same. We love to laugh, to dream our dreams. We know the sting of pain. From Leningrad to Lexington, the father loves his land. And fathers all get misty-eyed, to give their daughters hand. Oh, maybe when we realize how much there is to share, we'll find too much in common to pretend it isn't there. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. All the rhetoric of government may keep us words apart. There is no misinterpreting the language of the heart. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. Spoken
Amen. Lovely. Thank you. The Marshall sisters. They're not wearing any glasses. Well, yesterday we heard about the 10 secrets. The 10 secrets for us women to cleave to our man. There were a lot of last night. I think there's going to be a lot more. You be quiet. I think there's going to be a lot more tonight, because we now have the other side of the coin, the 10 secrets for a man to know how to cleave. Is that right? For a man to cleave to her. That's right. So, for those of you who felt a little uncomfortable, those of us who may have felt a little uncomfortable yesterday, now it's the other side's turn to feel uncomfortable. No, Pastor has a word, so let's listen. Amen.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Yes. Thank you very much for coming back this evening. Yesterday we were looking at women, and they were feeling all very well because we were telling, no, it's the men. who felt, yes, this is what you should be doing for us. And always, like in a boxing ring, when one side is giving, another one is waiting for the opportunity to. But this is not a place of ping pong. No, it's a place where we are looking for what we can do to be better in our marriages. And if you saw yesterday, was there any money needed? No. Did we need resources to do it? No, it is all within our means. We are able to do it. Doesn't need muscles, doesn't need anything. We can all do it. There was a question, I thought that it will appear today in the writing, but someone was asking about submission, which was somehow saying that in the way I was talking, I was trying to bring the women so much in submission to men. Did you sense that? No. You didn't sense it? Yeah. Now, I do not know if you have ever thought about it in Ephesians when God is telling the women to be submissive and he tells the men to be loving. Have you ever thought about that? Do you remember the analogy we used yesterday of the best marriage between a blind one and a deaf one? Yes. It is similar to that, to those two. When God tells men to be loving, we are going to look at it today, which may be very difficult for them. And when he tells the women to be submissive, that also could become their what? Problem. That it's very difficult for them to be submissive. There is a quietness. You mean to say that you readily submit? I would like to, out of what we said yesterday, I would like to state that submission from the women could be a struggle. Why? While the man is the head, yes, they would really want to find a reason why they should submit. You remember one of the points which we are very much emphasizing, showing that their intuition. Sometimes you can find that the women appear to be more brighter, isn't it? And especially nowadays, you may find them having higher street smartness than the men come around. I must admit that sometimes my fellow men nowadays, we are so much laid back in many things. And so that when one is having a woman and then is laid back and there are things that need to be done, then probably our ladies may find submission to be very difficult because they have to be as if they are pushing us towards doing things. Are we together? Yes. And in that environment where they feel you do not seem to have the mind, you don't even know the direction tomorrow, they don't know if you are driving, where you are taking the family, they may struggle with submission. Are you seeing that? Yeah. Yeah, just get a girl of 12 years and get a boy of 14 years. The girl of 12 years appears to be much brighter. Why? That element of intuition still comes on very fast for them. And so in the light of the fact that you seem to be sometimes picking up these very things, you don't need to go in the logical way to arrive to the end, you may come to a point of thinking that the man should earn your submission. Are you seeing that? And so you struggle with submission. You have already expressed things, he wants us to do these things, and you said, I don't think that that's going to be right. But he says, but I am the man. There was a gentleman who went home, and he found the neighbor who was having lots of puppies, and the dog was a very good breed. He said, oh, my wife, really, I found the neighbor with very good puppies. I think we should get some dog from him. She said, I don't like dogs. He said, but I like dogs very much. So he said, yeah, but I don't like them. I don't want them here. He said, but I want them, and it was my dream to have them. So I'll bring it. He said, then who is going to feed it? Yeah. He said, you'll feed it. Of course I'll bring the food. He said, I'm not going to feed it. I don't like the dogs. He says, if you don't feed it, if you don't feed the dogs, I'll beat you up. He said, if you beat me, I'll kill it. I'll poison it. He says, then I'll buy another one. Yeah. Then he says, I'll not give it food. And say, if you don't, I'll beat you. Then she said, I will kill it. After killing 3 dogs in this conversation, the man jumped on her to begin beating her. And when she began crying, shouting, the neighbors came and said, what's going on? Say, she's killing my dogs. Say, oh, when did you have the dogs? Where are the dogs? I've not seen the dogs. Are you seeing that? Yeah. I'm just bringing something where one wants to use force. Oh, okay, this is the best. One wants to use force, and the other one wants to use the influence, and one cannot submit at all. And you find the word that is there. Of course, we are going to talk, one of the points today we shall be looking at using the force of beating up. But God has given our dear ladies the intuition and sometimes the power to see things. And sometimes we may have those of our husbands who are not seeing those very things. And as a result, we look down upon them. And that's where submission can become a struggle to the lady. When you are seeing amidst all those things, assessments and all that, after being with someone, you see there's no journey, there's nothing, someone is just doing like that. Not thinking about the future, doesn't think about if in case something happens, what shall be. And as a result of all that, you don't feel as though you should respect someone, you should submit to someone, you should be able. Are you getting the point? And that's the reason why God says, submit. Yeah, you have all discussed over something, and after giving your views very well, you leave to him. Whatever decisions he is now going on, he's saying now submit. You just go. As you are in the car, if the driver chooses to pass this way, you're saying no, that's more flat. He says no, I'm passing here. Can you jump out? So he's saying that submit. After you have done all that, submit. So that is the struggle. And then the man, he says, men, love your wives. Why? That is part of our topic of today. Let's begin with prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to talk about our nature. You've called us to be one. Man and woman came together to be one flesh. In our times, Lord, it is extremely difficult for the one flesh to happen without the power of your Spirit. Lord, we pray that this evening, your Spirit may make what appears to be impossible to be possible. It's our prayer that, Lord, you remove the pride of the heart so that whatever is needed to bring us to be one flesh, we shall do without feeling that our image has gone down. I pray that your Spirit will use me, talk through me. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. We are saying, our question is, what are those things we men need to do in order to cleave to our wives? Some of them are going to be, of course, yesterday we saw the big differences that we do have. I would like to begin in the very beginning that cleaving happens when you as a man are working very much to see that you meet your wife's need. It begins with that there is a desire to have every part of yours to be invested in meeting the desires, not of the family, but number one, of your wife. And when a woman realizes that, your wife realizes that that desire is not there, it causes insecurity in her life. A failure to care about a spouse's needs causes constant frustration, and it hinders living, because one doesn't see why they should get closer to you when you are not putting any effort. You do not take them to be who they think they should be to you. Are we together? A spouse is psychologically tempted to look elsewhere when the needs are not met in marriage. You see how sometimes we drive our spouses into relationships, whether they are emotional or psychological, as we talked about it yesterday. We can do that without even forcing them or telling them to do that. But the moment we continue to withdraw what they need, then whoever appears to be supplying it, they automatically get attracted to them. They are pulled towards them. And that's another way of emotional affairs beginning, psychological ones that continue to grow up into the actual affairs. Because there is a need that must be met. You have seen our ladies when they are pregnant. Sometimes what one needs, what they really want to take, is because they want to fulfill a certain need which the child is seemingly trying to push for, isn't it? Yeah, so it's a law of nature that the need will push someone to where the need must, to whoever is having a solution to that need. So we need to become aware of each other's emotional needs and then learn how to meet them. Now, learning is where is the biggest possibility we do have. Many times we may think, yes, I did not know how to work with, I did not have girlfriends, I did not have this. But you do not need to have got an experience of how to meet women's needs. But you can only know from the expert. And who is the expert? Your wife. That's the very expert who knows how her needs can be met. And if you took time to want to meet her needs, you will understand. In the beginning, I can say, as a husband, sometime when I go and I see some dresses, some shops, and I go in, something has appealed to me, and I go and buy it. I come very excited. You bring it to her, you expected similar excitement. What do you see? Yes, this is not. But sometimes those where we buy, they say, it may be rejected, but we are ready. Take this receipt. We are ready to exchange. Yeah. So you went knowing that I'm meeting the need. But the need is not meeting according to what you think that is the need and what you think is the fulfillment of that need. But when you go to her, you say, you wanted a surprise, but with ladies, there are certain areas which are not surprises at all. So you need to, this is the need, and this is the budget, and this is what I was thinking. You have already set someone in the mood and the motion of meeting the need as she wants. She will tell you, okay, if it's this, I would not think that one fits in, but in that range, I think that is better for me. Are you seeing that? So in other words, I'm just using this as an analogy that they know their very needs. They are the experts. You don't need to go and ask your friends and others how to come and meet the needs of your wife. She is the very expert about that. Therefore, you've got to learn how to meet them. And the process of learning is simple. Why? You only have to talk to her. And the process of engaging in talking with her, that is exactly what she wants from you as a husband. Are we together? The time you're taking to dig, to know what she wants, her exact, that is part of the journey itself of buying. And so, our first point in today, we are saying that a woman appreciates recognition and affirmation. Many times, many of our wives, they do things. You see, when you look at a car, what is the most important part? Is it the engine? And which is the least important part? When you're looking at the body of the car outside, what do you look at it? What is the most important one or the most attractive one? Every part is extremely important. There are those parts which are visible, which we need to take care of, and there are those which will never be seen at all, except for the time when they were being put during the time of assembly. All of them are equally important. Many times you may find that in a home, visibility easily comes to the man who, if at all, is the man who is working and the wife is not working. One is more visible to be as if they are working the most. Isn't it? They go outside, they are working, they are running everywhere. Someone, this person is working so much. But there is someone who is at home doing this, and so it's not so visible to everybody to know that this person works a lot. And so it is easy for us to think, after all, this is the house. How much is there? In the morning, you have hoovered here, you have done that. Then after the food, after you have given the breakfast, and what is there else to do? I'm not doing anything here. So it's very easy to minimize and trivialize the place of someone because they do not appear to be doing big things that are bringing in big differences. Are we seeing that? Yeah. And so in the long run, we can come almost to downlook them, trivialize their presence, and actually they can come to believe how we are looking at them and to the point of losing their very identity. So it is very important that we keep their place because they are equal with us in the realm of God. You remember in Galatians chapter 3, verse 26, 28, where it says, we are now, there's no Jew, there's no Gentile, there's no woman, there's no man. All of us are equal in the sight of God. I'm not talking opposites. I've said that the man is the head. But in the standing with God, before God, we are all equal. And in the love as a couple, as one flesh, you are all equal. The roles may appear to put one to be a little bit more, or someone being called a chairman. Does the fact that one is a chairman then is above everyone in the meeting? Is it? No. You have only chosen that we cannot all lead the meeting. We have put you in place to do that. But you are equal to the rest of the members who are there. And so, a woman appreciates recognition and affirmation for what they are doing. It's very bad for us to take what they are doing now for granted. Are we together? Many times we do that as well. Recognizing your wife means you're going to take her as number one person. Amen. After God, who is next? The woman. In many of our societies, when they find that a man is highly taking the woman very much up there, they say, he has been bewitched. Do you hear that? It will come from either side, from the in-laws, sometimes from the friends. When they feel that you have gone extra steps, almost being illogical in your love, they say he was bewitched by the woman. Is it not a common thing with you? It is when one goes a step further than the common steps. But I would like to say, when they say like that, say, thumbs up. Yes, it seems I'm going somewhere. Yeah, it is a better thing. Because next to God, the next one is your wife. Actually, the name which was given her. When he said in Genesis chapter 3, when he says, we make her a what? It's chapter 2. We make her a woman who is his helpmeet. The word helpmeet is equivalent to the word which is applied to God. And the Lord is my help. Whom shall I fear? the same word is the same word applied to the woman. And so the woman actually, according to that, she is at the level of God when it comes to the human. In other words, she has been put near you to make you to have the role of God in your life. And so that's how important, how high she is. And so when you put away, say, the help, oh, it is the one of helping. No. We have translated the word. Yeah. So taking her as number one, that is the most important thing. That there's no one who takes the place of being number one among humans but her. Not even the conference president, if I'm a pastor. Yeah. She's the one that comes first. And wherever we are, it's not anyone, not even the president, but your wife should be number one. Now you see when you're laughing, it shows that I've just put them where they are not supposed to be. But that's what God did. That's exactly the position that God gave them. Now, let me ask you. We have a proverb. We see we have kings in Uganda. And they will tell you that at night, even the king carries something. You see the king, last time, recently, is it 2 days ago, when the queen's speech? Yes. Everything they are holding, everything, including the speech, someone is bringing it for her. In other words, she's not there to carry anything. But it's from that, those observers, by the way, at night, even the king carries. Are we together? Similarly, in other words, you who is calling yourself as a husband or as a queen, during those very important moments, everything that appears to be that is not in your position, you do it willingly. Why? You have to do everything that is needed for having the best of the moment. Isn't it? Are we together? So in the same way, it's needed that principle need to be applied in life, that we shall put down everything to do everything. We shall put down anything of our position, anything that should put us up above, but for the sake of letting someone take their actual place of being number one, put down everything else to put that until we have done it, then that's when we have the satisfaction. When one is having that first position, that's when our satisfaction is. But if he's at the second position, we shall continue struggling. Are you getting the principle? I can show you in the Bible. Look at Philippians chapter 2, from verse 5 to 11. You see the example? Philippians chapter 2, verse 5 to 11. What does it say? It's talking about Jesus Christ. Let this mind, I'm trying to look for it, I can't see it, but let this mind be in you. You remember that text? Let this mind be in you. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ, who, being in the form of God, did not consider it robbery to be equal with God. It doesn't translate it very well. When you read from Greek, it says, who, being equal with God, did not consider equality as something he should cling on. Are you seeing that? That's the actual from Greek. He was already equal with God, but when he saw that his wife had fallen, the equality meant nothing to him. And he chose to get down and be born like a man. And when he was born like a man, it was enough. He became a servant. It wasn't enough. He became the chief of sinners, dying on the cross. It was not enough. The cross was the greatest curse, but he went on the cross. And it wasn't enough. Die and is buried. So he went down, 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 down for the sake of his wife. And he says, and it's because of that. Are you seeing now? that after resurrection, he is exalted above everything. So that every name in heaven should bow down. Because of his action of going down is what exalts him. Gentlemen, it's our going down and forgetting our position, doing everything to see that we have left it to put them up, that exalts us. That's where our image should be. Not in the strength, not in anything, not in how we look, but our capacity to be able to get her down and bring her up to her actual place of being number one in our life. No, nothing else is number two. Amen. So, we don't only do that in that way, do it also in your admiration, in your affirmation. We have said that you have to affirm your wife. In marriage, we need to know that every word is the power that creates. As parents, you don't talk carelessly to your children, because when you talk negatively, you are cursing the child. When you say, "You child, you're going to be stupid, look at what," you are pronouncing a curse upon this very child. Are we together? Similarly to each other, whatever we are saying, we are giving a word that creates reality. So the words of affirmation begin to create reality in the one we are affirming. Are we together? And so that's why this is very, very important. In Proverbs chapter 16, verse 24, it says, "Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul, and health to the bones." Are you seeing that? The greater words of affirmation that we give, the greater the health and the glow you'll see on the ladies. They will not need to have lots of bottles around there, but your words alone will be causing the glow that comes from within. That's very rich. I assure you. Yeah. So, what do we need to appreciate? There's a lot for us which you can appreciate at home. Testimonies. Many times we are so much used to their testimonies that we just take it for granted. A tidy home. Have you ever remained at home as a man and tried to almost fill up? She has gone somewhere, she has gone either abroad, and you are the one now at home. Have you come to realize what appeared to be simple things that they are engaging you, and by midday you have not yet even sometimes given the children breakfast? Has it happened to you? Yes. You're supposed to wake up in the morning, you were busy asleep. Someone always woke up in that time. Yeah. So appreciate those very things. Don't consider them to be small things. Because when you are the ones to do it, you really see it. So appreciate the tidy home. Appreciate the marital fidelity. It deserves praise. Appreciation can be shown through words, through gifts, and it is surprises. But how many times do we do that? But those surprises are needed because they're extremely healthy to the relationship. And they talk volumes. They don't need to be costly, but when we do it, it talks volumes that you really value them. You see? Remembering birthdays. Now this is where we are. Many of us who grew up in environments where birthdays were not important, sometimes it is easy for us to forget the anniversary and the birthdays. But I want to tell you that these things mean a lot. When we do remember them, they know that they have a prior place in our lives. When they are forgotten, they know their importance has been shelved and they are only being seen as just merely housemates. Are we together? And right now, we cannot give an excuse of forgetting them because technology has made it so simple for us. It can be put in our diaries, it can be put on phone, and we can be reminded. I'm seeing the loops which which you could have used. Yeah. So those, when you are doing those, you are saying that you are special to me when you are saying that. And when we don't, then it shows that they are not really special. Why? Because sometimes we find ourselves remembering those who are around us, isn't it? So if then they see that, okay, you were able to remember what the other one did. You remembered about the other one. You remember about the other one. Why didn't you remember ours? So that means those are more important. Your workmates. If you are a pastor, your members. And so you have wanted to join in, and in the Facebook, everywhere it will show you, birthday, so-and-so birthday, tomorrow. It is flagging. Nowadays, that's what, and you don't do anything around it. So please, let's try to do that. Those special moments. In other words, families which are having trouble, they look for every reason to go and fight. Isn't it? Something because of Cold War. This one told me off on this. They are waiting for a time when he does, and then they also do something. Looking for an excuse for war, isn't it? But in a health marriage, or where we want to create health, we need to get an excuse for celebration. An excuse for having a party, having a good time, for valuing someone, for appreciation. Just looking for an excuse. And someone will say, oh, but I didn't think that this one needs to celebrate about, but that's where life now begins coming up. And when we do like that, people feeling appreciated, it will mean a lot in our life as spouses and with our children. The number one thing that the women want in their lives, one of the greatest needs, the number one need of the women is affection. Is that wrong? Ladies? Affection is the greatest. Yesterday we said the number one of men, we said it, the three-letter word. Yeah. Now you can see that the two appear to be in the same ring. If it's a boxing ring, all of them appear to be, one is in the other corner, another one is in the other corner. Just different forms. Yeah. While this one is an action, the other one is around the emotions and the feelings. Are you seeing that? So it's the number one. And God has made these two, but they are complementary. Because when that is given very well, then everything that this one is needed, however much is high, that one will also meet it very high because it has been well supplied with fuel. So affection is the fuel that moves. It cements the relationship and bonds the couple. It tells her that you are concerned about her problems. It tells your values of her and your pride in her. Yeah, one of the reasons I delayed to marry, but one of the reasons I didn't want to hear or to see that someone who has been a good, moving on with this, that, I didn't want that kind of thing to be in my life. I say, I want, when I'm moving with my wife, I should feel very proud. And I look everywhere, I don't see anyone who has ever tried to be around my wife. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes. The pride that, yes, she is mine. Yeah. But it's that affection, when we are having that affection, when you go and you're putting in everything because you love this one, and that's the most important person in your life, then you are putting her up in her very, very life. Most men need to learn this skill, because without it, their marriage will likely fail. Because what it means, cleaving will never take place. You'll be brought together by the house, by the four walls, but you'll never be together intimately in one spirit and truly in one spirit. Are you seeing that? It will never happen without affection. So this is the number one thing, and you may forget everything of the needs today, which you may talk about, but affection is the mother of them all. Please, as men, we need to have it as very important. How do we show affection? There are many ways through which we can show affection. And in this country, there are so many which are simple. Cards, calls, texts, gifts and flowers, dinner dates. If I would ask a question, when was the last time you took your wife for a dinner date? Yeah. When was the last time you came and gave her the hug? Probably a playful hug from behind, just two. And there's nothing around it. When was it when you are playing with her, but not as a preparation? Or not because it is the planned day? Are we together? It's not towards, but it is just there as an act. When did you? So intimacy is extremely important because it communicates love. Yeah. So if you're going out, can you open those doors? Those simple manners. You used to do them when you are dating, but can you still do them, or you take her for granted? Holding hands. There are some people who do it early in their marriage, and after some time, that's for young people. That's for young. We are old. We are no longer there. Who told you that you are old? Why do you feel jealousy? Where are those who are doing it? Do you know how you get jealousy? By talking about them. Look at them, how they are showing off. They are showing off as if. Do you hear those comments sometimes? Those are signs of jealousy. You long for it, you'd want, but it's not happening. You see? But why don't you do that? Who told you that if in the church you are here, people are not holding hands, they are not holding their waist as they are moving around, that when you do it, it is anathema? Why don't you have your own culture of showing each other affection? Not only in the house, but outside. I've seen it in this country sometime, that sometimes people want to do it outside, and you see every time they're moving, and they're moving around, kissing each other. But when you watch them, and when they're opening the door, going, cold water goes on there, the kind of affection they were showing in public, as soon as they go inside, it's all forgotten. So that was for a show. And that's not very good. But do it inside and outside, if at all your culture is not. But I would like to say that culture is not something that is natural. Culture is formed, isn't it? And so the people will make habits are what will cause a culture. And out of that culture, then people will continue doing them. But sometimes those may not be necessarily good. So we may say, it's in our culture, this never. Who told you that? Yeah? Is the body having a different makeup of those cultures? Is it? Are we together? The body, whatever culture, they have the same feelings. So if they are to be tapped into, they can be tapped into. Don't limit yourself to a certain culture, except you may respect certain aspects of the culture, but they should not limit you from being affectionate to one another. Another point here is that the women, they welcome help with household chores. Now, this is where many of us, sometimes especially those from certain generations, yes? Yeah. It may be that the man was expected, he's going out to do all the work, and after, when he reaches home, he needs to be served. And when he's served, then others, that's what they should be doing. And so one can be saying, I'm so hungry, so can you, no, water, I'm thirsty. Can you come and get me a glass of water? The fridge is there, he's seated here, and you have to send for a child to go and do it. But our ladies welcome a helping hand. But a good thing, we are also having a good generation now. We have some men who enjoy being around the kitchen. We may have it now, but they welcome that. Please, in the form of doing that, you'll find yourself that you'll be talking. And as you are doing all those very things, she feels honored. They crave for it. Are we together? They crave for our service. And so, but you'll need to understand what type of services which they'll need. Find out those services where they need a helping hand and be there to supply it. Sometimes I've realized that some of those things where we have burdens, when you go into them per se, they are not heavy. But you find them complaining about them as if they are very, very heavy. But when you go to it, is it really heavy? It is something you can do in 5 minutes. So it does not remove from us our position, our title, our respect. The more we are doing this, the higher our respect is. So let's be involved in Galatians chapter 6 verse 2. It says, bear one another's burdens, and so you'll fulfill the law of Christ. Let me ask you, if you want to do all those very things, and then you go, and someone is saying that he's tired, are you going to say that it's an excuse? That's the question. So for you to making sure there's no excuse about this, make sure that you have finished everything. So, yeah, let her be the queen. Yeah, have as little as she can do, everything that is of weight and what, you're doing it, she's doing the most light things. And so, okay, there's nothing. Okay, now we can sit and talk. Yeah, then that's life. You're bringing life there. And when you do it, you'll not have robbed yourself of anything. Yeah. Why should we take all our energy in the gym and you find us sweating, clinging, and all that and that, and at home you'll never lift a spoon? Why? Why should you? You see? Yeah. And you know that when you're doing this work, if you really want to be gym-minded, every work you can make it to become an exercise. Yes. If you say, let me just clean, and you get and begin cleaning the kitchen and everything, wiping. The energy that you're putting on is a form of exercise. Yeah. So if you want, you really can make home as a part of an exercise. And by the time you're finished, you're sweating, you come from there, the muscles are all painful. Yes. That's how it is. So they are very, very long. They long for our hand being their partners in sharing the work at home. And the more we do that, the more we shall find ourselves in tune. Because during that time, we shall find even ourselves talking to each other. The conversation will just come, and we find ourselves talking with them. A loving husband's arms are raised not only to hug, but also to help. Are we together? Yeah. Not only when it's time to hug, but when it's time even to help. That's why God has given us the upper what? Upper body and down, so that we are muscular. And with them they are what? Top is small and down. All that is showing complementary. It's all complementing one another. The muscles that we do have, to put them at work. And of course their tenderness also. We long for their tenderness. They long for our muscles. But those muscles are not only doing the hugs, but also in service. That's where it is all needed very much. Housewives get bored, and so they welcome a change. Working women need help at home. Two income couples should share household duties. All of you have gone to work. So when you have come at home, as you are tired at your place of work, and I'm also tired there, but there is a need for things to go on at home, so all of us should put in our effort. So it's no excuse that I was working or your type of work needs more. Husband and wife who work outside, should work inside also. Yeah, so this is very, very important. It is going to bring more life. You can imagine. Take your wife. Yesterday we said that men are like a flower in being that they are so fragile. I want to say that also our women are like the china plate. You know the china plate? Yeah, those very good ones. You'll find them always in our living rooms. For showing off. Yes. But you see, when you find someone who is having this plate, I've been having it for 50 years. It is something that brings pride. Why? Something that is very delicate, that should have broken during this time, but you've managed to keep it. That should be the goal of us as men. Making sure that you found her tender, looking very young, and all the features as you see her, and you'd want to keep her like that for the rest of the 60 years. But you know how to keep her like that? Making sure that there is very little that is going to be so burdensome to begin to make her older faster, losing all who she is. Are you seeing the China wire concept I'm talking about? So that by 50 years, people say, oh, you're the one? We can't imagine that you're the very one who got married. All these years, how has it been? Because you have sought to make her life so easy, delicate, that she has been kept as the way she is. It's possible for one, even though they have given out 3 children and what, to be kept at a minimum loss. Why? Because of what you're doing. But the more she's working, that hard labor and what, that drains her, and it will come in her age, and it will come in everything of hers, and including her health, and then very soon you have crap. And then you say, why do I have crap here? You're looking outside. You see, you have made a crap. Am I using very bad language? I'm trying to drive home the point that when you overuse her, you will not like to see what you have made of her. She will become a wreck. Yes. And your input must make sure that you are minimizing, you don't allow her to come to that stage. You are fighting to see that she never comes to that stage. Yeah. And so that would mean including the feeding, including the leisure. You're doing everything to make sure you are keeping her the way she is. Yeah. Number 3, she expresses her feelings and needs a listening ear.
The men thought you was on number 10.
Oh, I must begin rushing now. I don't want to be the way. Yeah, okay, I'm going to rush now. She expresses her feelings and needs a listening ear. That's why James 1:19 says, my brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen. And what? Yeah. Our women would like, one of the greatest things they want conversation. They crave for conversation. And unfortunately, somehow, many men, irrespective of our temperament, we find ourselves being limited with words. And so, we can become talkative in the beginning of our relationships, and when it comes to marriage after some time, you find that we do not have what to talk. I'd want to say that that is the greatest torture we bring to our wives. They long for a conversation. When you have come back and they ask you, how was your work? And what do you say? It was just okay. And you leave it. And that is an answer. No. That question was an invitation to a conversation about your life, to share your life. Whether it appears to be a closed question, there is a need, a desire for them to want to talk. let's use that. Sometimes, if your wife is not working, she has been in this only world of the house. You have been outside, having all the rest of the world outside there. From a person who had been working as an officer, but because of children, is now at home, is now having only baby talk. And that is not stimulating to the mind. She needs to be stimulated also. She needs to think. She needs to share feelings. She needs to share the world as it is, but from you. And when you said you are to be her friend from this day onwards, that was part of it. So when you come, it's good you come and talk together. The conversation you have with your wife is equal to the intimacy and the romance you can talk about. You can talk. The way she gets fulfilled. Are we together? She longs for that, and that alone is very, very important. Now, many times we as men, we find ourselves that when a woman talks to us, we think, and they tell us about what they have been undergoing in the day, we're thinking that they are having difficulty in solving their problems. And so you're only listening. As soon as they finish, you want to begin giving solutions, and what to do. And then they feel you have lost the whole point. They become frustrated. And instead of the achievement, what the aim that they had, they have lost it. But if you were listening intentionally, asking questions of understanding, sympathizing, empathizing, and all that, and you are not supplying answers unless they have been asked for, you'll hear the following morning saying that they had a good time with you, very satisfying, and they are grateful for the time which you had. And you say, but what did I say? I did not say anything of a solution. But the listening ear was very, very important. Now, on the other hand, every time you go out, all of you are growing. You are growing either in unity or in separation. Because you are all going to get exposed to the world, and it's going to make you different. So when you go and you come back home and you share your experiences of what you made, what made you, where you felt frustrated, you had the fear, what excited you, what you do that, you are bringing the world that you had to your relationship, and one is having it equally as you had it. Are you seeing that? That's the goodness of the conversation, including the challenges that someone had. When they are sharing with you their challenges, you may be a doctor and she may be a teacher, but as they share the challenges, you are growing in their profession of understanding their kind of challenges, and she's also growing in yours. So you have now the two worlds merged together through the conversation and sharing of experience. So instead of growing apart, you are growing together. You see, we're talking of cleaving. You are moving together, but together. Getting the storms are coming, but you are facing them together. And as one had, I did not know what to do. I said, oh, did you consider doing this and that? Some things problems don't always appear to be very big. But as we are sharing our experiences of the day, the other's input begin to create or help the problem-solving heart on ours through the talking. And somehow you find that you have an answer. Someone say, out of what you checked yesterday, I felt that I should do like this and this and that. And so the conversation is extremely important for the couple. And by the way, with the children too. I realized just a few days when we talked just to our children about certain conditions, then one of them began telling us what is happening to her school that she had not previously told us. She had not got the guts to tell us. But because we are talking about something which was similar to those areas, she felt the confidence to bring it. And so now we have the opportunity to arrest the potential of the dangers in that before they have become there. Are you seeing that? But otherwise we come, hey, how was your school? Oh, it was nice. But you see, the countenance is not fully good there. Are you seeing that? So it's through the conversation that we find ourselves that we are at par. And it's extremely important. It's therapeutic, it's building, it's empowering, it is inspiring. That's what it is. Let's have conversation. And many times when our wives come to us, we say, let's talk. Then the question will be, about what? Because we are problem-focused people, we need a solution that everything that should be, there should be a solution. Someone is talking to you, you are thinking, what solutions should I give? So you don't have the capacity to listen, to empathize, to see some of the things that are not said, but you can read them through the body language. So let's take time to converse. And let me ask, how many of us, with the exception of the planning of the work at home and everything, talking about how the children, what happened, how many of us talk about ourselves in the form of a conversation? If you put together the minutes that you took out in the week, can it amount to 2 hours or 3 hours? It is saying that a struggling relationship needs at least 15 hours a week for conversation together. A struggling one. Can you imagine? So that means if it is healthy, it's more than that. Now, what about yours? How many hours can you count that you have been having as time together and conversing together? So you can see that we may be killing each other. And by the way, things which are not shared begin weighing upon life. That's the way our stress gets on. As they keep on piling, that is the stress. And one is carrying a certain burden all the time. But through the talking, we make light of the burden. The burden is removed because one feels refreshed. And so that's why it's very important. Number 4, a woman easily changes moods and feelings. So men, we must not expect certain feelings that will be their standard. The changes are going to be there. The body chemistry, her bloodstream has 20% fewer oxygen carrying red blood cells than that of men. Can you imagine? That's already a limitation. Yeah. And so, a menstrual cycle, the monthly cycle of the reproductive system, causes changes that create tension, influencing emotions and behavior. So we should know that already. And when we see this, we should be able to support instead of having a war, because we are seeing changes, all of a sudden changes. And we begin acting as if we are not understanding what they are going through. Number 5, the woman is weak, yet stronger. Now, for that reason, I'm going to read 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7, where he says, husbands likewise, dwell with your wives with understanding, giving honor to the wife, as to a weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life. How many of us do believe that women are a weaker vessel? Including women. How many of us believe? Truly, physically, women are weaker vessels. So that's a fact. It's not something that is putting them down. But it's telling us something as men, that because they are weaker vessels, we should handle them with care. Now, many of us, sometimes men, we are misusing the power which we are having. Some of us, because our voice is greater, because we have greater muscles, we use intimidation, and sometimes there is beating. It appears that among us, there are some men who are abusers, who beat their wives to silence them. And if at all you are here, it is not a sign of strength, it is a sign of weakness. Every time, as a pastor, when I've heard where there's a beating, I know immediately that someone is having a problem or about self, the concept about self, and there is a feeling of being small, or feeling inadequate. So beating is not a sign of strength, but a sign of real weakness, a sign of frustration that one should do. And one can say, yes, in our culture, my father did it, or we have been seeing it being done. If it's being done, those are people who are foolish, who do not understand at all. You can never use beating to a wife, even though she's weaker. That's why you've been given the strength to protect her. So as a man, we are supposed to protect our wives from anything that should promote their weakness. And so they are weaker, but they are stronger. So as men, I think many of women here, when they come here, they put on a makeup. Sometimes the makeup is hiding lots of things. Yeah. The abuse and the beating that we are doing to them, emotionally, physically, sexually. Yeah. Some of our wives, of the wives, are being raped. In other words, they are not in mood, they have talked it, they have been tired, they have been having this condition they are having, and one is saying, no, this cannot go on. Take their way by force. Yes, you can succeed, you say, yes, we did what? We vowed. But the vows did not mean that you are going to use force. You are going to use your strength to weaken, to make sure you bring someone to submission. We are living in an environment and a generation where energy and power is being abused and being promoted to be. You see the knifing and all that. All those are signs of weakness, not strength. I know in martial arts you'll find that those people who are highly trained become the most weak-looking. They'll never respond to violence with violence. They'll rather run away than to respond with violence. If you knew as a man that the power of your fist will break, will shatter, then you should never attempt to use it at all because you know how dangerous it is. So it is there to protect or to totally self-defend, but not to go into saying that one is good. But in the family, how can you say you're self-defending? You can only maybe defending by holding the hands when someone is trying to beat you up. Yeah, but not say, okay, because you have held the hands, now it's your turn to bash and do what? So our women are weaker. Let's protect them. And when they know that you are protecting them, you are giving them the greatest honor. Sometimes this protection, I'll take it also far, to social. Sometimes in church you'll find that some women, people are talking about your wife, that either she gossiped, she did that, and some men, you let them have their battles. But I'm saying that you've got to fight for her. Fight for you, a woman, whether she is wrong or right. When it goes outside there, you need to make sure that you are a team fighting for her. Your issues of saying, but really, surely, this is really true. That should be in your bedroom. But outside, you must be a team fighting together. The women, they have sharper hearing. You see, we said they are weaker, but they are also stronger. They have a sharper hearing than men. Brighter night vision. Do you know that? Keener sense of smell than us men. A stronger immune system than men. That's strength. The greater resistance to heart disease during childbearing years. Do you see that? Very strong. And women are weaker on that. So while they are weaker, again they are stronger. They have more strength. Stronger corpus callosum, enabling speedier recovery from stroke, if a woman had stroke. Longer life. Many times women outlive us as men by 8 years. Yeah. So while they are weak, they are strong. Let's make sure that we are, you see, we say complementary. the weakness, we complement it by protecting them and making sure that we don't drain the force which they have through the last point we talked about. Number 6, we talked about she has a gift of intuition, arriving at conclusions spontaneously. And so we know their power. The two hemispheres, as we said yesterday, they function differently, processing information differently. Let's exploit the power of their intuition than to call them dumb or anything. There are some women, I would like to ask you, because of this we have talked of the intuition. You married your wife as a nurse. I'm giving an example. You saw her gifts. You have been married for 20 years or for 10 years. What have you added onto her? Yes? When we were beginning, we talked of that you are supposed to help another one reach their maximum potential. You found her with a certificate. After 10 years, she still has a certificate. Have you done well? We are talking about the intuition. Is that all she can manage? You found her with the first degree. Why don't you lead her to the second degree? You found her when she's leading a team. Have you helped her through your inspiration and that she's able to lead a company? Are we seeing that? The intuition which they have, make sure that you are not only using it at home, but you're also investing in it to give her the value that puts her at a greater level. And that is going to make you greater. When we left uni, going to marry, thinking of marriage, many of my fellow men were saying, I'm going to marry a woman that is not having a degree. I don't want someone who will be challenging me. Are you seeing that? Do you see her intuition as something that challenges you or something that you need? Yeah. Don't be intimidated by that. That's a team. That's a team member. Put in more that you'll find yourself, all of you, going up. And I said, I can never do that. I would rather begin with someone who has a first degree so that we can go up together. Yeah. I did not believe in someone being like that. So they are very wise. Use that. And if you are not yet married, look for someone who is challenging you. Are you seeing that? Yeah. Because the more you're getting that, the more you find yourself growing. So exploit it for goodness, not seeing it as a problem. Now, in your homes, because of things which are going on, they are watching some things and they say, as things are going on, this is the problem here and there and there. Don't see it as someone who is continually probing in what's going on, and then you're beginning wars as a result of showing some mistakes here and there which are going on in the family. But use that as a point of doing what? Of solving and making sure that these weaknesses are no longer in the home. Are we together? Yeah, sometimes these are the causes of the storms. Because someone is having an eye. You see, in every meeting you'll find, you begin bringing an idea, and many members of the meeting, they say, yes, I. But before you go, please, before we go, have you considered this? And they begin punching holes in everything that you have talked, you have come up by now, and you find sense in it. Are you seeing that? And as a result, you find that you come from there with something that is really good. So if God has given you someone who is having that great higher intuition, don't let it not be a cause for cold war in the family, but should be a source of strength. I'm going to stop here, I think. Yes? Mark chapter 2, verse 23. If anyone has ears, let him hear what the Lord is saying. Verse 7, a woman is stimulated by how she feels. A woman is done what? Stimulated by how she feels. Men, stimulated by the mind. The Song of Solomon, he says, his left hand is under my head. Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 6 and 8, verse 3. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand embraces me. What she feels is what stimulates her. Take time to exploit that. Have her, hug her, and let her feel you. But many times we don't focus on the feelings. Focus on her feelings, and she will, in return, be normal. Yeah, the laughter, the smile, and all the feelings. Even the energy levels which had gone down. Do you know that some embrace can bring it all back? Yeah, so it's important. I'm now trying to rush. A wise husband patiently takes the time and the care necessary to caress his spouse in preparation for intimacy. He recognizes that it's only when both partners are ready that they experience maximum satisfaction. If you have not been good since morning, how can you expect the best there? And how can you think that a 3-minute preparation, 10 minutes, is enough? Can you see a party that has been prepared in 10 minutes? Can it be a real party? No. So because one is stimulated by feelings, begin all the way from morning. Because the feelings is a process that continues to build up. And as it is building up, it's both building her up and you up. If you have not also been built up in the process of her feelings, then you'll find that actually you will have a mountain to climb. If the preparation has been short, it will be a mountain to climb. If it has been from morning to evening, the journey will be very long, but will be a pleasant one. Everyone is as if, yes, you know, someone who has been training, and then it's time now to run. You are flying, but you are not feeling it, and they tell you the distance you have covered. You don't imagine that you have covered that distance because you are still feeling alive. And so it is when our feelings, all of these have been moving on together, that's the feeling that comes. It's not a journey of climbing the hill. She enjoys varied expressions of love. How have you been expressing your love in your marriage? Is it the same way? Same way. You understand that? The same way is boring. As it is, everything is happening. One is imagining what is going on. It is so. One does not even need to think. We need to express love in many different ways. That means that for us to be better spouses, we have to be creative and continually be creative. Not the same way, doing it the same way. There are 3 expressions of love. Casual one, like holding hands. Intimate one, like hugging and kissing. The ultimate one also of sexual expression. But we can continue varying our ways of expressions in those 3 levels. And so let's take time. It doesn't mean that by taking time we go to learn from others. No. God has given us a process we can learn from each other. We can learn from we go to seminars. If you want to continue varying your expressions, go to seminars, marriage enrichment seminars. Go attend them because you are continually grabbing things so that you can express love in different ways. I pray that we will be like that. I'm trying to rush. Romans chapter 12 verse 10, it says, be kind and affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor, giving preference to another. Number 9, she needs new eggs in her empty nest. You get that? You see, when he says to everything there is a season. So with every season, also the woman will begin experiencing differently. You cannot expect the way you used to live together in the first year of your marriage that it's going to be the way after 10 years. So we've got to make sure that at various stages of life, they adjust their points of focus. When before you had children, she was only focusing on you. Are we together? Yeah. And so the newlywed, the period, the focus is the spouse, the felt need is intimacy. And then when you have children, the focus is children, and the felt need is family. Are you seeing that? So with every focus that is there, you can still get to her by focusing on the felt need with her. When you're focusing on the felt need with her, then you are still with her in other areas. Are we together? But if you remain in the newlywed period, and she's now focusing on the family, and your focus is on just on the intimacy, but it's not on the family, it's a turn-off. Why? Her problems become number one, and everything else is switched off. Are we together? But if you have also come in that problem, then it's no longer a problem. We are in it together, and then we are able. We finish this business, and we come to this business. Because as we are doing this business, it was actually reminding us, and also preparing us. You did not feel anything that is there. So know the seasons, walk through the seasons together. At the time of empty nest era, as the children have gone to the uni, then she's beginning focusing on self. But if you have not been together in those areas, that's when you'll find that all of you are quiet and the home is like death. Have you seen people, the children have gone, now the time is no longer there, you find them seated there, they have no conversation, there's no play they can have together, because during all these years, all those things were shelved. They were not talking to one another, so they have no even way of conversing. They struggle to find a conversation that will cause them to laugh. Have you seen some of them? Could you be experiencing the same? Yeah. When children are gone, there are new goals that we can have to work on. A wise husband is sensitive to her changing needs and will facilitate her progress. In every season, we can facilitate now with the coming progress that is coming. That's very important. Let us stop here for tonight. I'd like, because I've seen that I've already gone way above. And so I'm very sorry. I had thought that this time I'll keep myself in time. But as we have said, that we men make sure that we are having time with our wives, because time is what calls love. Be there. Let's be there for our women. When you're in the home, as a man, be there with her. Let her know that you are there. Are you there in the home? When you are there, does she know that you are just inside the house, but you are not with her? When you're in the room, are you there with her or you are not with her? So be there with them, emotionally, intellectually, socially, everything. Let's be there. Let's protect them. Let's praise them. We have said those points. May God help us. Even if you take 2 of those, it may bring a change to your life. May God help us in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. We're balanced now, yes? Number 1. No, I won't. Let's stand. I'm going to add to what Pastor has said. What has been spoken. Let's stand in our hands. Thank you, lovely Father, for helping us to recognize that there is another side to the coin, and that you have given us the word. Help us as male and female created equally in your sight, who may walk the path that you have planned for each and every one of us. Take us home safely now, dear Lord, and bring us back again tomorrow, according to your holy will. Thank you. Forgive us for our sins and help us to live better with each other. In Jesus' name we pray. So tomorrow is Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow is Wednesday, and we begin at the same time, 7:30, but 6 o'clock onwards there will be light refreshments in the hall served if you wish to join us. Otherwise, please get home safely. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Thank you.